Hello, welcome to Bio 161, Intro to Human Biology. I'll be your instructor, Jason Moyer, and in this video we will cover various features of the course and how the course will work. I will cover how Blackboard is set up, how you do your assignments, how the test will run, and so on. So this video should hopefully answer many of the questions that you have about the course. Okay, first we'll start off with the setup of Blackboard and how some of the key features are laid out, because you will spend a lot of time on Blackboard and on another page that we'll talk about here in a second. This is what you should see when you log into Blackboard, the announcement page, and this is your welcome message here. And all of you should have gotten this in email, because after I post this video, I will send out this welcome message along to everyone's Gaston College email address, and that is the preferred email address that we would like you to use, the one that is school provided. That's the only way that we can guarantee delivery or be able to monitor delivery of emails. I'll go over this intro message very quickly. Basically, we will cover a lot of material in a short amount of time, so you need to stay up to date with this information as we go through it. We will cover one chapter each week. Alright, so you're watching a video, which is no linked here. You'll spend a lot of time on a webpage called Mastering A&P, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Alright, even though this is the first week of class, there are some assignments that are due by the end of this week, and that is always an issue with a purely online class like we have. You are still responsible for submitting work and quizzes and projects and tests as we go throughout the course. And we'll go over that course schedule here in a second. See, for this week, there are three things that are due. The first one, a discussion board icebreaker that is due just before midnight on Friday, August 28th. If you do it Tuesday, that's fine. Wednesday, that's fine. As long as that is completed before Friday, August 28th, just before midnight. If you fail to submit that icebreaker by that deadline, it is very, very possible and likely you will be removed from the course. So this is a very critical assignment to do. And that is a school policy. Because this is a purely online course, we have to have some interaction with you, the student, the first week of the course. So if we don't get that, for all we know, you aren't going to be attending the course anymore. So that assignment is very critical. And all that is introducing yourself to the class, why you're taking the course, any concerns you may have, and I'll discuss that when we get to the discussion board. Chapter 1 study module is due before midnight, also on Friday, August 28th. And when you see the term study module, that really just means practice questions. I made the study modules for each chapter a part of your overall grade, because it gives you a practice to review the material, and also to get accustomed with the layout and the workings of the Mastering A&P site, because that's where all your chapter quizzes will be, and that's where your midterm and final exams will be also. And then your chapter 1 quiz will be posted Friday morning, early Friday morning, just after midnight, and will be available until just before midnight on Sunday, August 30th. If you take it Friday, that's fine. If you take it Saturday, that's fine. If you take it Sunday, that's fine. You have a 3-day window to take every single chapter test or chapter quiz. And I'll go over that when we go over the syllabus. Alright, so we'll kind of take these in order. And my Blackboard will look a little bit different than yours because I am the instructor, but not too much different. We're just going to throw you off. Alright, course information. This is where you'll find the syllabus and the course schedule. Some other important information, like the textbook, Essentials of Human Anatomy and Physiology, the 11th edition, the class participation policy and grading policy, and those two are taken right from the syllabus, which we'll cover briefly here next. So for the syllabus, here's how the syllabus looks. A very standard looking syllabus for any class in the Arts and Science division. Of course, my name, Jason Moyer. Phone number, office phone number here, and cell phone. Also available to receive text at the cell phone number. Email address, moyer.jason@gaston.edu. And the preferred method I would like you to contact me is either through text at my cell phone number or email. That way there's a record of you contacting me and a record of me contacting you back. If you call my office, if I'm not there, I rarely check those voicemails because I'm not there all that often. So a much better way is to email or text me. My office location, the Roush Building on the Dallas campus, room 216. These are my various office hours. They will vary by day. Some days are different than others based on the labs and classes that I teach on campus. The course description basically describes what we'll go over in the course. When we talk about human biology, what you're really talking about is anatomy and physiology. So we'll have an intro to human anatomy and physiology. Okay. General outcomes that you'll be able to do once the course is over. Let's see. Again, the book that you will need, The Essentials of Human Anatomy and Physiology, 11th edition by Elaine Marieb. There's a picture of a woman running on the beach. Is the cover of that cover of that textbook. That's something that you will need to have. How the course will be graded is probably the most important part of this video that most of you will be concerned with. And here's the breakdown of all the points that you can earn for this course. There'll be a total of 2,000 points that are possible to be earned. You'll have a chapter quiz on every single chapter. There's going to be 13 chapters we'll cover, 75 points to each. So a total for that grouping will be 975. The study modules are 20 points each. That's a total of 260 points. So even though those are practice questions, those are a grade of your overall grade for the course. So don't take those for granted. Those give you good practice in the material, and they're something that's going to be necessary to do well in the course anyway. The midterm exam and final exam are 250 points each. That discussion board icebreaker is 200 points. That is something that's critical for you to be kept in the course. And something, the General Education Outcome Project, or GEO project, GEO, that's something I will give you information on in the next few weeks. It won't be due until toward the very end of the course, early December, and I'll give you information on that probably in mid-September. So you'll have at least a month to complete the project, so you have plenty of time to do that. But that's something that we have to do because of this course and because it's online. Alright, the grading, 1,800 points and higher will be an A, 1,600 points to 1,799 would be a B, and so on. Some important points to go over, and some of these I've already mentioned. That discussion board icebreaker on Blackboard must be completed by Friday, the 28th, just before midnight. This is a chapter quiz each week, covering just one chapter. It's going to be available on the Mastering A&P site from Friday at 12:01 a.m., so basically very late Thursday night / Friday morning, until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. each week. Once that deadline has passed, that quiz will go away and you won't be able to take it anymore. So you have a 3-day window, which is plenty of time between your other classes and your other stuff going on in your life to take a chapter quiz. Each chapter study module must be completed by Friday of that week at 11:59 p.m. Again, if you do it Tuesdays, that's fine. Wednesday, it's fine, as long as it's completed before Friday 11:59 each week. You must complete at least one assignment each week to be considered an active participant of the course. If you don't participate in the class, then I have the right to withdraw you from the course. And plus, if you don't turn in these modules or turn in these chapter quizzes, you aren't going to do well in the course regardless. So you must be active in the class to be a remaining student in the course. There's a breakdown for the grades, the overall course grades. This is based on a 10-point scale, which is common for all arts and sciences classes, so not just mine. A would be 90 to 100%, B 80-89, C 70-79, and so on. Alright, next we'll cover the students' rights and responsibilities. See, on the first day of class, the instructor will go over the syllabus, which we're doing now. We're covering course objectives, grading policies, and classroom policies. Class sessions will start and end on time. Doesn't really apply to us since we are an online class, it's really up to you if you keep up with the material. Assignments will be graded and returned in a timely manner. I tend to give these tests back, or these quizzes back, pretty quickly, so you'll know what your grade is as soon as you take it. Students will regularly use text and other course information. You will need the textbook in this course. That's something that it will absolutely you will need to do well in this course. Alright, instructors, what I expect from you as students, you will read the syllabus, and if you have any questions, you need something to be clarified, you will ask. Some of these aren't applicable to us since we're an online course. Number 4 is important. Students will submit assignments independently and on time, so you are given a full course schedule when everything is due. And then, of course, you will obtain the information that you need to do well in this course. All the required texts, such as lecture notes, the textbook, and so on. Alright. I am here to help you do well in this course. That's how all instructors should be. If you have questions, if you have concerns about maybe not doing so well, contact me. I can help you contact other services on Dallas campus that can help you to remain in the course and be able to do better. Participation policy is the school's policy that if you are not active more than 10% of the time, then we as the instructors have the authority to withdraw you from our courses. I don't like to do that. I have done it in the past. I don't like to. But if you aren't taking an active role in the course, then you shouldn't be there. See, makeup policies. Because you have a large lead time of when the assignments are given and when the assignments are due, there is no makeup. So once that deadline has passed for that module, you can't do it late. Once that deadline has passed for the chapter quizzes, you can't do it late. You know well in advance when everything will be due, and you have a very long time to take and complete these assignments. So there are no makeups, and there is no extra credit also. Alright, course withdrawal. It is your responsibility as a student to withdraw from the course if you feel you need to. You registered for a class, so you can withdraw from the class. The student behavior, probably not that applicable to us, being online class. Maybe more so the discussion board and anything else. Basically, don't be rude. We're all adults who expect you to act like it. Alright, academic dishonesty policies. Cheating will not be tolerated at all. If I feel that you are cheating or doing something else to get information early, then you will be reported to our department chairman and our dean, which means you could be easily kicked out of not only the class, but kicked out of the school. It's really not worth it to try to cheat in a class like this. There are ADA statements here. Campus safety, not really applicable for us since we're not on campus. If you have complaints about the course or about me, or perhaps both, hopefully not, but if you do, here are some contact names you'll need to know. The chair of the science department, or science and math department, Dr. Armstrong, her office, her phone number, and her email. And her boss, the dean of arts and sciences, Dr. Woodson, her office in the Robinson building, her phone number, and her email. Alright, here's our tentative course schedule. We will not do every chapter in the book, we will skip a few. But here is our tentative schedule. And remember, each week we will do a chapter. So, Chapter 1, Human Body Orientation will be done this week, but you'll be covering in your study module and in your chapter quiz due by Sunday. And then Basic Chemistry, Cells and Tissues, Skeletal System, Muscular System, and the Nervous System. Then the midterm exam. The midterm exam will cover information on these chapters here. After the midterm, endocrine system, blood, cardiovascular system, respiratory, digestive system, urinary and reproductive system, and the final exam. The final exam is not cumulative. It will only cover chapters 9 and onward. It's basically another midterm, but later in the course. So it's not cumulative. It's only for the material after the midterm to the end. So chapters 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. Alright, information about computer access. And the very last page is the Cincture page. This is important not only for regular seated classes, but also online classes. This is something that needs to be emailed to me with your signature. By signing this, you are agreeing to the terms set forth and described in the syllabus. So you can't come back later and say, well, I didn't know you weren't going to drop a quiz. I didn't know everything had to be turned in on time. I didn't know you didn't do makeups. So make sure that you take the time to read the syllabus. Not just the parts that we went over here, but read through it. If you have questions, ask. But I cannot issue a grade for you until this last page is emailed to me. So you can download this PDF and attach this last page to me. Make sure that you print and sign it. And I'm working on a way to submit this electronically to help save paper and help save some time. Alright, course schedule. I have this broken down in a calendar view by each month. That's why there's so many listings here, and each one is in a separate PDF file. Okay, this is how it should look. And all these items that are listed are the things that are due on that day. So, of course, our first day of the semester, the 24th, Monday. Friday, the Chapter 1 quiz is available. That's why it's listed 3 times, because you can take it Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But the icebreaker and the Chapter 1 module, study module, are due by Friday. So remember, the modules are due by every Friday. The quizzes you can do all weekend. Okay, so that's, and I have this broken down for the entire semester. So you know right now when everything is due for the course. When the midterm will be due, when the final is due, when that geo project is due. So you know when everything is due right now. So there is no excuse for turning in something late or not knowing about it. Okay, so that's the course schedule. Again, the classroom participation and grading policies are included already in the course syllabus, but I took those out to make them separate also, just for easier access. Let's see, faculty information. Information that's also found in the syllabus, but nice easy way to find it. My email here, phone numbers here, office location, office hours. And it says that I prefer either text or email. Now, I'll respond within 48 hours. I usually will respond within 24 hours, especially with this being an online course. No, I always have my phone with me, so I get my email on my phone, I get text on my phone. So I like to respond fairly quickly. So if you have any questions or concerns. Alright, the content of the course. Alright, as for getting the actual material that you'll need for the chapter quizzes and the exams and so on, I have 2 ways for you to get the lecture notes. Under here, under lecture notes, I have it broken down from my various chapters, so chapter 1 through 7. They will be available in PowerPoint presentations. I have the first 6 chapters listed already. I'm working on chapter 7 right now. And the test will come, or the quizzes will come directly from my notes. Okay, so make sure that you pay attention to anything that's in bold or a different color or underline and so on. Okay. In addition to having just the PowerPoints here, I also will have lecture videos. And what those are is broken down in the same way, chapters 1 through 7, which is the material up to the midterm, and then 9 through 16, the material after that. They'll be covered on the final. What these are, here are links to those videos on YouTube. I will present the lecture notes in those PowerPoints and give a lecture like I normally would if this were a seated class. So I know some people can just read PowerPoints or read notes and do fine. Others need the material explained in more detail because it's kind of hard to understand if you aren't familiar with the material. So you can do it either way. You don't have to do one versus the other. If you're more comfortable watching a video, that's fine. If you're more comfortable just reading the lecture notes, that's fine also. As long as you understand the material, then that's okay. But you have 2 options. PowerPoints here, and then videos here. Alright, we'll skip mastering AMP for now. We'll do that last because that's the biggest chunk of what we'll talk about. For discussion board, you find it here. And the first one is always listed. It's about etiquette and rules. Basically, don't use all capital letters because it's considered rude and it's considered shouting, so don't do that. I have several forms here listed. The first one that you'll need to do by this Friday, the 28th, is the icebreaker. What you do is you'll click on here, and I've already made mine. So what you'll do is, for your assignment that is due by the end of this week, you'll create a thread. You'll title it with your name, like my thread is titled with my name, and then include such things as why you're taking the class, any concerns that you have about the class, where you're from, just anything that's general. I don't need a whole paragraph, but I don't want one sentence either. I want 2 to 3 sentences about you, so you can introduce yourself to the rest of the class, since we don't get to see each other. And again, after that deadline on just before midnight on Friday, if you post after that, you will not get credit for it. That's where your first assignment will be. And I also have forms for every chapter that we'll cover. 1, 2, 3, and so on. If you have a question about a particular item in that chapter, put it in that particular forum, because I will be checking this discussion board very often. Because if you have a question, the odds are others in the class also have that same question. So I'd much rather answer it with one posting here as opposed to 10 separate emails to 10 separate students. If you have questions about the class in general, it doesn't really apply to individual chapters, you can put it here, general class questions. And like I said, I'll be checking this discussion board a few times each day. Everything else probably won't be needed. Of course, your grades will be here. And those will be a running tally as we get through all the chapter quizzes. The biggest place that you'll spend time on, other than the lecture notes and or videos, is this one, Mastering AMP. And this is what you'll see. This has all the information that you'll need to access the site and to do what you need to do for this course. And I'll kind of take the ones at the bottom. This first link here will take you to the overall homepage of the site. Wait for that to finish. And make sure that you're going to the right page. My name, Moyer, the class 161, fall 2015. Alright, study area. It gives you a very good place to go and practice material, and it's also broken down by chapter. So this from here, chapter 1, the first week's material, learn and practice the crossword puzzles, art labeling, flashcards, glossary, anatomy topics for the AMP animations, and this is you're able to find this material on every single chapter. A good way to practice the material on your own, in addition to the study modules, in addition to the notes, and so on. The Pearson eText. This is an electronic version of your textbook. It's exactly the same thing as what you'll get from the bookstore. And this is how this would look. And again, broken down by chapter and by topic area. And this is the cover of the book that you should have. So basically, your textbook just online. Your scores, once you start doing the chapter quizzes and the study modules, will be listed here. Of course, there's going to be nothing there right now. And the big one, mastering assignments. This is where you will go to do your study modules and to do your chapter quizzes, right here. So when I say you'll spend the bulk of your time on mastering AMP, it's going to be here. And this is what you'll see. There's 2 ways you can look at this. I have it listed in the list view, where you can sort it by the title, the assignment, the category, and the due date. Or you can put it in a calendar view, if you would prefer to see that. Different colors for different things. This salmon color here are the study modules that they're due that day, and the quizzes I just put on Sunday because the deadline of when they're due, and so on. Now this first thing is listed, Introduction to Mastering A&P. It's listed as a intro assignment. It's not really an assignment. I really recommend that you go through and do this assignment, even though it's not really an assignment. It'll give you a good way to get a feel for the Mastering A&P product, how it works, because this is how you'll be able to know if your computer is able to handle the video demands and audio demands. Are you able to move things like you should be able to move? Because this is what you'll need to be able to do for the study modules and also for the chapter quizzes. And this is something that you can do throughout the entire course. It's not due any certain day. It's not worth any points. It's not an assignment. But I really, really recommend that you do it before you try the study module. So going back to here, and I have these right now listed by the due date, as the due date and the due time. And again, ignore that due date for the intro assignment. So, Chapter 1 study module, due by 11:59 p.m. on Friday the 28th. And these study modules I will keep open throughout the entire course. So if you want to go back and review something from the 2 chapters ago, you can. So these are questions that are taken from the chapter. Now one thing I will mention now, and it's something that I really can't help, but in my lecture notes, we don't have the time to cover every single thing listed in your textbook. We just don't. If we covered everything the textbook covers, we'd barely get through chapter 3 or 4 throughout the semester. So the chapter quizzes will be based on my lecture notes. Okay? But study modules, I can't remove questions from those. Those are review questions and comprehension questions from the textbook. So you may get some questions in there that we haven't covered in the notes because it's taken from the chapter. Now when I grade these study modules, I'm not grading them for how many you got right, how many you got wrong. I'm grading to see that you completed that assignment. That's what the key thing is. That's why they're not worth as much, but it's important that you complete these assignments because it will give you a better grasp of the material that we're going to cover on the chapter quiz. Again, even though all the quizzes are listed, they are not available, so don't think you can click on here and get to the assignment because it's not available. It won't be available until Friday morning, early Friday morning. All your assignments that you'll use for Mastering A&P are already here listed. All the study modules down to chapter 16, all the quizzes are blocked off here, but they're not available, obviously. Where I'll put the midterm, right here, and where I'll put the final. But again, once these deadlines have passed, and for these quizzes, they will go away, and you will not be able to take them. So get used to seeing this page, because you'll be looking at this page a lot during the next few months for this course. See, and that basically covers most, if not everything, that you'll need to do well in this course. And one thing that I will say, and I say this to all my classes, whether it be online or a seated class at Gaston or at the Dallas campus, if you have questions, always contact me. Because this is the kind of class where it's easy to get behind if you don't pay attention. And if you get behind, it's very easy to get really, really behind. And once you get really, really behind, you're basically screwed. Because you can't do well if you get behind in this course. If you have questions, call me, email me, text me, come by the office, contact me somehow. I am here to help you with this course and to do well, or do as well as you can. So don't feel embarrassed about contacting me or putting something on a discussion board. If you have a question, ask. I'd much rather answer 1,000 questions from students than you assume that you can figure it out and then not figure it out and then do poorly. So that's my role as an instructor, is to help you. So again, if you have questions on this video, in addition to watching it again, just let me know. And again, the first week's assignments, Icebreaker is due Friday, the Study 1 module is due Friday, then your first quiz is due anywhere between Friday and Sunday evening. Alright, I wish you all the best of luck for this class. And again, if you have questions, do not hesitate to contact me at all.